Hi, everyone. I'm Pastor Richard from Paradise Baptist Church. And in this series, we're going to do a biblical survey of each Bible book. It's a great way for a light bulb to come on and help you gain a greater understanding of what each author is trying to say. What if the very first pages of the Bible aren't just ancient words, but the foundation for understanding our world, our purpose, and even ourselves? Welcome to the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible and part of the Old Testament. Even more specifically, part of the corpus of the Pentateuch, which is the first 5 books of the Bible written by Moses. The word Genesis itself means beginnings or origins, and that's exactly what the book sets out to describe, the beginning of everything. Genesis is the historical description of how God brought everything into existence by his own word. Importantly, Genesis covers a vast span of early human history. At this point, you may be wondering, how old is the universe according to the book of Genesis? The answer is very young. Although not given a specific age, we can conclude it is most certainly less than 10,000 years old. The reason why we know Genesis is presenting a young earth is twofold. Moses gives us no indication that what he is saying is not historical. Therefore, we should accept it as such. And secondly, the word in Hebrew for day, yom, when accompanied by a number, always means a literal day. When God said he created in 6 days and rested on the 7th, that's what he means. You might be thinking, young earth, doesn't modern science say the earth is old? The answer to this question is simple. Yes, many scientists do say the earth is old, but remember this, they have faulty presuppositions. They have come to this conclusion because they don't want to believe in God. In fact, there is tons of science that says the earth is young. I encourage you to go look into it. But have faith. Genesis is an actual account of how the things began. Just believe it. But don't get confused. Although the age of the earth is important today, that's not the most important thing to Moses. What Moses is trying to establish is that the one true God and the way he created is vastly different than the pagan accounts. Creation stories were common in the ancient world. Many of these myths described multiple gods, chaos, violence, or strange and immoral behavior, resulting in the existence of everything. It is against this backdrop that Moses writes Genesis through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, presenting a radically different picture. One sovereign God who creates intentionally, powerfully, and peacefully, bringing everything into existence out of nothing. This God is not one among many. He is God alone, supreme, distinct, and far greater than all the false gods. From the very first chapter, Genesis challenges false beliefs and points us to the one true Creator. As the story unfolds, Genesis introduces us to humanity's earliest ancestors, Adam and Eve. They live in perfect relationship with God but choose to disobey him. Eve is deceived by the serpent, and Adam willingly rebels against God's command. This act brings devastating consequences: separation from God, spiritual death, and eventually physical death. Not just for them, but for all humanity. This event is known as the fall. Yet even in judgment, God offers hope. In Genesis 3:15, God promises that one will come who will defeat the serpent by crushing its head. A glimpse of God's great redemption right at the beginning of the story of Genesis, God's response to sin. As Genesis continues, we see humanity drift further from God. Evil increases, corruption spreads, and the world becomes filled with violence. This leads to the global flood, where God judges the world but preserves life through Noah, a righteous man. Noah and his family enter the ark, and through it God provides a great salvation. After God demonstrates his great salvation to Noah and his family, they get off the ark, and it is in this moment that God places a rainbow in the sky as a promise to Noah that he never will again flood the entire world. What a demonstration of his mercy. Further on in the book of Genesis, it tells the story of the Tower of Babel, where human pride leads to confusion of languages and the scattering of nations. Then the focus narrows to one man, Abram, later called Abraham. God makes a covenant with him, promising to form a people through whom the world will be blessed. This promise ultimately comes to fruition in Jesus Christ. Although Christ eventually fulfills the the promise of a son through whom a people would come takes a while. Abraham and his wife Sarah are barren, but they have this promise. And many years of waiting after the promise leads to the son Isaac, who is born. Isaac, of course, then goes on to father Jacob, and it is through Jacob the 12 sons come, who become the nation of Israel. The book ends with the story of Joseph, a rejected brother who, through God's plan, rises to a position of power in Egypt. What others meant for evil, God uses for good, preserving his people during a great famine. In the end, Genesis lays the foundation for the entire Bible. It does so by introducing us to who God is and why our world is broken, where this sin came from, and how God has always had a plan to rescue and restore. It explains the chaos we see today in our world and the consequences of turning away from God, and the hope found in trusting Him, which is our purpose. You see, Genesis isn't just about the past. It helps us understand the present and points us towards God's redemptive plan for the future. As you read the book of Genesis, ask the Holy Spirit to guide, and may it bless you as it's blessed me.